Let me ask you guys a very serious question. Do you remember the Hampster Dance? Because I sure do. And in fact, I remember it so well that my brother actually had a CD with the main Hampster Dance song and a few other songs remixed to the hamsters, all dancing in their little synchronized dance. And he played it quite a bit back in the mid-2000s, and it was kind of an interesting meme, to say the least. But of course, that was towards the end of the Hampster Dance popularity, because the real meme kind of peaked in the late 90s and early 2000s when the website that first created the meme kind of went viral. It was a pretty big deal back then, and you'll see a lot of websites that talk about the Hampster Dance kind of say that it was the first meme and the first viral kind of sensation of the internet. The Hampster Dance is nothing to talk about nowadays. It's kind of forgotten and obscure, but we almost lived in a timeline where the opposite happened. Now, this stemmed directly from the website itself, which again was really popular back in the day. However, there wasn't really much going on with it by way of revenue or investment opportunities. It kind of just existed, and the creators didn't really do much with it. This was, however, until a man named Bill Porfido came into the mix and decided he wanted to franchise it. Now, Bill was a bit of an entrepreneur, and he saw the Hampster Dance as the next big thing. This sort of led to the mainstream popularity of the Hampster Dance outside of the internet, because of course the radio single was released, and from that point on, it was hitting #1 on all kinds of charts. I remember, I think, hearing it on Radio Disney as my first kind of introduction to it, and yeah, it was really popular on Radio Disney. So after the song itself became such a big hit, of course, Bill wanted to, further expand the Hampster Dance universe, but he wasn't really sure where to take it, because at this point, they were kind of just a disposable mascot that accompanied the big hit song. Now, this led to a pretty big idea that Bill had, which would have involved a TV show deal, a TV cartoon, and also merchandising. This entire idea was pitched to Nelvana, and plans were pretty smooth to have all this stuff be produced, like Nelvana was on board. However, the roadblock in this case was Chorus Entertainment, who had bought Nelvana, halting the deal. Bill and his lawyers were waiting to negotiate a deal with the new company. However, that deal just never happened, and eventually it fell through completely. So with Nelvana and Chorus out of the picture, Bill had to figure out where else he could take this pitch. So believe it or not, he actually went to the likes of Sony and Disney with his idea and tried to get them on board with the whole Hampster Dance franchise, but they passed on it. So Bill, being the entrepreneur he is, decided that he should go through with the idea himself, which is kind of what he did. With rather limited resources, this led to Bill finding a New Jersey-based animation company to produce his Hampster Dance film. It's been stated that the film's plot was pretty much that of Holiday Inn, except with hamsters as the characters. It was all animated in CGI and released exclusively on the Hampster Dance website. This is where you could buy DVD copies of the film, and unfortunately it kind of went under the radar. No one really took notice, and Bill says only 2,000 copies were sold. And this kind of killed the Hampster Dance franchise as Bill planned it, because the website itself stopped being updated, there were no other plans with other companies for shows or merchandise, and essentially the whole fad of the Hampster Dance kind of faded away. And I guess after selling only 2,000 copies of the movie, that kind of lines up. Altogether, Bill says he lost around $1 million trying to franchise the Hampster Dance. Now, as far as I could gather, there wasn't a whole lot of development when it came to the cartoon and products, but that's not the focus of this video. We want to find this lost Hampster Dance film, of which only sold 2,000 copies, through the Hampster Dance website. So first things first, you might be wondering where Tracker is, my VHS tape friend. He's usually behind me, but this time he decided to do his own line of research, and I don't know how well that's going for him, but we'll let him do his own work and we'll do ours on the internet. So just like with any case of lost media, we had to figure out how can we get this thing found. Now, a few things about this film right off the bat that we can gather from the Lost Media Wiki article on the topic. Firstly is that it was done in CGI, and we can see visually what the cover looks like and the hamsters themselves. Not only that, but if you go to the old Hampster Dance website, which is archived, you can see some screenshots of the film, which is good that we have a little context about, I guess, some of the contents of it. There was also a song uploaded to YouTube, which is said to be from the film itself, and that's kind of cool to have too, but I guess none of those factors really help us in getting the actual film found. We're going to have to contact people for that. And of course, Bill Porfido, the main guy behind the Hampster Dance franchising, was the guy I wanted to contact, especially since he was the one that even had the film made to begin with. Now, the past couple searches I've done on the channel, contacting people was extremely difficult, and in this case, Bill was no exception. I had a really hard time trying to find anything on this guy, and I think that's just due to probably his age, but also just how long ago this happened. Like, it's not something that he would be actively online discussing. So one of my leads to Bill came from an article written by Leah Collins, who sort of actually gave me the entire rundown of the Hampster Dance history and kind of put the whole timeline into context for me. So I had searched on like anywhere you could think of to find Bill's contact info, and I just couldn't. But I thought, Leah was able to get in contact with Bill back when this article was written. Maybe she still has some contact for him. So I emailed Leah hoping to get in contact with Bill, and she actually gave me a really solid reply. She said that back when she wrote that article, even she had a hard time contacting Bill, and he was not easy to find. She told me she was put in contact with Bill after she emailed a company called MirrorTech, which was one of Bill's other companies. She gave me the exact email she used to get in touch with Bill back in the day, so I emailed it hoping I'd have the same luck. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I emailed the address she gave me, and it actually didn't even send. It gave me an automated response that told me to email at this new address, which was still a MirrorTech address, but it was slightly different. So I emailed that one thinking it was an updated version, but unfortunately I never heard anything back from that one either. So the whole MirrorTech email network seems to just not be functioning anymore, which kind of falls along the lines of where we would expect this to go, seeing as Bill is so elusive and her article was from years ago. So unfortunately that was kind of a dead end right off the bat. I wanted to go through my other routes before trying to circle back to Bill. So my first thought was trying to find the company who animated it. There's a bit of a contradiction here between which company made it, with some claims stating that it was just a small New Jersey-based company who was never named, while other sources state that Abatis International, one of Bill's merchandising companies, were actually the ones that animated it. So I don't really know which one it could be, but at any rate, I can't search for a company whose name we don't know, and I did look into Abatis International, and I really found nothing on them when it came to animation or actually producing content. Not to mention, I did search up just how the hamster saved winter, Hampster Dance movie, on Google, hoping that maybe a resume would pull up some results, but I got nothing on that. So I wanted to move to what we knew for sure. And to do this, I went back to the Hampster Dance website that mentioned the film itself, and I really looked around the page to see if there were any indicators on companies associated with production, anything when it came to the overall creation of the film. And I did find a few things. So there were two names I found on the website. One was the copyright, which was under Abraza LLC, and the other was for design work credited to Asbury Arts. On top of these two, I went back to the Lost Media Wiki article and noticed that the DVD was sold through a website called Kunaki. So putting these three names together, I thought that someone at one of these companies must know something about it. Because while our ultimate goal is to get the thing found, there's still a lot of information we don't really know about it, so just getting more context would be a good thing. Now, of course, because the copyright was under Abraza LLC, I wanted to check them out first to see what they were all about, and turns out it was another one of Bill's companies. This one, though, seemed to be the one that specifically owned the Hampster Dance brand, and doesn't really exist outside of just trademark records and stuff like that. And again, there was no real way to get in contact with him at this point. Asbury Arts really piqued my interest though, because it specifically had to do with design work. So I went to their website just kind of poking around, and I actually noticed that the DVD cover of the film is on their website still to this day. And this suggests that they actually did the graphic design for the film. I'm guessing the extent of it was just putting the front and back covers together, probably not really doing any actual design work on the characters, but still it was a really good lead, and I wanted to see if they knew anything about the film, or maybe even had some of their old design files still available that they could maybe send to me. I contacted the site directly through the site's own email, but unfortunately I never heard anything back. That was kind of disappointing because I really would have liked to have heard back, but I think it probably came down to the idea that why would they answer some question about a Hampster Dance movie that, they don't really understand why I'm looking for it. So I'm guessing they probably saw the message and they just ignored it. And finally, while it was kind of a stretch, I did go to the Kunaki website to see what that was all about. So I contacted them specifically asking if they had any more Hampster Dance movies or anything relating to that as a whole, but again, never heard anything back because again, I feel like this website is set up more for business, and a lot of their FAQs had to do specifically with ordering options, so they probably don't really know what to do with a guy asking for a Hampster Dance movie that they might not even have the rights to release anymore or produce anymore. So I think this might just be one of those topics that kind of comes to light over time as more people realize that this exists and maybe they want to watch it. Especially since that whole bit about the 2,000 copies being produced was kind of just thrown out there. Like, I think maybe that's where most of my intrigue for it comes into play, is like the scarcity of this. Like, you know, there could be someone out there right now watching this video who like knows they have a copy of this, right? And like, it's rare, it's hard to find, like you can't find this. And I looked on like Worth Point and eBay, as I usually do for this kind of thing, and I just found no listings for it. Like, I can't imagine someone going on eBay and specifically listing that. If anything, it would probably be in like a lot of children's DVDs or something, and like, you know, how many lots of children's DVDs have existed since the film was produced. So with that said, guys, I think it's gonna do it for this mystery, and hopefully within time we can uncover the Hampster Dance film, how the hamsters saved winter. But until then, I'm LSuperSonicQ. Thanks for watching. Finn.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out some of my other game-related Lost Media videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Finn.